Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the Oreo Express. Josh here. It is Wednesday, April 23rd. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you joining us here. If I could ask a favor, hit that like button, share this out. We got a lot to talk about today. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. We're a little tired, but we're going to get through this. Let me jump into the chat really quick and give some hellos in here. Susan, hello. B. Mikey, C. Marsha, Karen Sunflower in the house. Shared to 3 sites. Thank you, Karen. Trina's in the house. And let's see, we got down here Nola. Nola jumps in. Thank you so much. Old Uncle Bill's in the house. Check that out. Mom X Swift and Chevy's in the house. And look at, I think everybody, almost everyone in there is a subscriber. Thank you so much for the subscriptions, everybody that gives the subscriptions, and everybody who donates to keep us on the air and keep us doing what we're doing. We appreciate this more than you know. More than you know. We say thank you. Got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, last night we were down in Redlands Unified School District. We brought you guys that live stream there of, I think about this stuff afterwards. Like I let it all absorb a little bit and I think about it. And the thing that just got me is there was people, one lady, I don't know if it was a lady or not. You never know at those things. But one person said that they were talking about a censure of one of the board members when all the conservatives were speaking were breaking the laws on hate speech. And this is the same group that applauded Google and Facebook and everybody else of taking away our First Amendment rights. They used to like that term. Well, they're a private company. Well, not when the FBI's involved, and it's at the direction of the Biden's administration, if you guys remember that. You just can't make this up. But they had signs. And this is what's scary. There is so many people that wants to take away your ability to speak, your ability to give your opinion, and your ability to state facts if it goes anything against their religion. And it is the transgender issue is a religion. You see it time and time again. I love it when some of these places call people cults and everything. And we look at those people, you can usually spot them 2 blocks away walking down the street. It was very apparent yesterday when you looked in the room who was for biological males in female sports, who was for taking the rights away from females, not wanting to protect females in sports. And so that was just something I kind of reflect on when I do this. I kind of, wherever we go, I thought about that this morning when I woke up. And it is scary because these people do want a dictator style government. Joe Biden did horrible things, didn't do anything he literally promised. Democrats had the House, the Senate, the presidency. They did nothing for DACA. They did nothing for illegals. They did nothing for a lot of things they promised. They need them as talking points because just like when Trump says, I'll solve the border, they says, oh, no, we need an act of Congress. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need a bill to do this. Remember that? And that's what Trump told them not to vote on that bill, the bipartisan bill. And all in all, Democrats love that bipartisan bill because it still allowed 2 million illegal aliens to enter this country each year. We need a zero entry policy. And we're getting down to that. Border numbers are lower than they've ever been in recorded history. And I think that's something that is great news for this country. But some of the people yesterday, and it was just amazing. Again, hats off to all those patriots, all those concerned parents, all those concerned residents that stood up for our young girls, stood up for the American flag. Because without you, for a long time, and you guys know this, I've been going to school boards. I've been to more school boards than anybody I probably know. Like, I've literally been to more school boards than people that have been elected on school boards for 3 years, because we've been doing it for so long. And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. For the longest time, and you know, good things come out of bad things. There's always a silver lining. And one of those things that we recognize here, COVID was horrible. What it did to small businesses, what it did to the elderly, what it did to grieving families. Your mom, your grandma's in the hospital and can't even look at them through the window. They're dying in there, and you don't get to go in, pray for them, hold their hand, comfort them. That's unforgivable, and we need people in prison for that. But what it did do is it did wake some people up. I think those people were already on it did bring some people over to the normalcy side of politics, but I think most those people are now those people that are on boards, that are still going to school board meetings, that they started looking into it and be like, what? Started looking into their child's schoolwork, because they were doing it at home on a laptop for quite a while. And so there's some positive that comes out of everything. Like I told Rachel, and people think I'm crazy sometimes. Maybe I am. But when they raided my house and destroyed all my belongings and tried to put me in jail, I was like, there's no coincidences in life. Things happen for a reason. And when I got home that day, I felt blessed that it had happened to me, because I talk about it right here on this program so much. I have the passion, and what they want to do is silence people. And all that did was make me louder. It gave me more motivation. Since then, there was two times that I was ready to just say, you know what? I'm tired of being broke. I'm just going to go back to a full-time gig where my traveling will be with my family and everything. And there's a couple things that happened. One was a pastor from New York sent me a Bible and highlighted it. That day I was literally thinking about, how am I going to tell everybody I'm just done with this? And I was like, God, give me a sign. And I kid you not, that same day the Bible came in, and with some nice letters and words of encouragement. And I was like, there's no other sign than that. There's no other sign that we need than that. And so we still need to act. We still need to be there. People are thinking, because Trump is in office, hey, Trump's there, he's going to fix everything. Trump can't do anything without us. We have to do it on a local level. That's what folks this is California. This is Redlands, California, guys. This is a place where, again, that a lot of those people in there, they hate Trump. Some of the board members absolutely despise Trump. But people stood up, they went out there, and I think that's huge. And I also want to give a big shout out to anybody that helped us out financially. We're getting ready to go return the rental car right after this show, and it couldn't have been done without your donations and your support. So again, thank you so much. I got another, I did get a donation this morning. I think I gave a shout out to everybody that did it yesterday. And if I missed you, but John G., thank you for the Cash App this morning. Appreciate you. Again, this is all us, guys. This is what we got to keep doing. Keep shining the light in the darkness. Hold on, what was that all about? So hopefully we don't have too many problems with the laptop today. It's acting up. So check this out. We've been talking extensively about a high school student. I think it was a Houston, Austin area. Probably Austin, in Texas. I want you to see another incident where a man literally just pummels a senior citizen, an older guy. Take a listen to this, and then let's talk about what happened.
And again, wanted for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in a shooting. forget. A man beats an elderly victim to the ground for trying to get into his car in December 2023 at La Michicana food store in North Houston. That victim's family says he was simply confused because he has Alzheimer's. The man in the red here is Trayvon Lockridge. He was arrested, but his bond was then lowered and he posted it.
And of course he gets out, and he's out, and now he's wanted again.
So that same guy that beats up an elderly man didn't talk to him, didn't say, hey, what's going on here? Is there some confusion? He beats up this elderly man, gets $1 million bail, guys. $1 million bail. And surprisingly, it's lowered to $20,000. And now he's wanted again. Take a look.
Wanted for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in a shooting. Forget. A man beats an elderly victim to the ground for trying to get into his car in December.
I mean, it's one thing. I get it. Somebody get in your car. I can get shoving them to the ground. I could get even being prepared. I prepared to take someone out, take someone down, whatever. But I've always told you, I'm old school. People think fighting is violence. I don't think so. I think mutual combat. I think defending yourself. But when the person is on the ground, you can stand over them in case they get back up. But back when we were fighting, back growing up in my days, we would just pick the person up. And it was just something men did. Now it's stabbing, shooting, beating up elderly people. I don't know what's going on. It's just insane. It's just insane. But if you wanted some good news today, oh man, more and more stuff is coming out that's federally funded, and we're exposing it. People are exposing it. Libs of TikTok is exposing it. And our federal government is doing something about it. This is a post from Libs of TikTok. It says, some of the things we have to say on here. Federally funded masturbation lessons for children. Yeah, you heard me right. Said Boulder Valley Health Center, an abortion clinic in Colorado, is hosting a free sex ed summer camp for children, which will teach them about gender ideology and everything related to sex, bodies, sexuality, sexy feelings, and justice. They also want to teach your children about consenting to sex and pleasure in all sorts of ways. This clinic receives federal funding. So there it is, sex ed summer camp. Who in the right minds between 5th and 8th? Never mind. So here it is, Boulder Valley Health Center and Renee Crown Wellness Institute are partnering up to offer engaging, relevant, and expansive sexual health education summer series. We can't wait to learn together with all the amazing young humans in Boulder County. Please email our education team for any questions during the registration or about the program. Guess what? The cost is free because you have groomers in there that are sick and disgusting individuals. Who's this for? Sex Ed Summer Camp is for all incoming 5th through 8th graders. Sex Ed Summer Camp is full of all sorts of information regarding sexual health that most students don't get to learn in schools. We will talk about everything related to sex, bodies, sexuality, sexy feelings, media power, and justice. And it says at the bottom, why? Listen to the reasons why. Because all humans, especially young humans, deserves information about their bodies, other people's bodies, and how to communicate about them in ways that feel fun, affirming, and excited. So it's a groomer clinic. It's a groomer clinic. Like, oh my God. How did we all make it, guys? How did we all make normal, everyday lives, productive members of society without having groomers teaching us sex ed camp stuff? This is way beyond. Again, and they're federally funded. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure this is getting to the top right now, and hopefully they will lose their funding. And check this out. You had a guy, climate change activist, go inside Trump Tower in New York and started vandalizing the placard, the 45 placard inside. And I just want to say, if I would have seen this guy walking in, I would have known. It looks like the same people that were out there trying to take away women's rights last night. Take a look at this.
Hey guys, what a fucking piece of shit, bro.
See, now, if that guy would have done what I probably would have done and just cracked that dude upside the head for being stupid, that guy would be in a lot more trouble than the guy that walked into private property and started vandalizing. Take a look at this.
What guy's doing that? Hey guys, got leave. What do you got leave? Leave? Yeah. Leave that? Fine, come in, just break anything. Don't touch him. Don't touch him. Do not touch him. Spray paint, please. Spray paint. Are you police? Yes, I am. Name and badge number? Badge number?
Name and badge number? Let me see your supervisor.
What police force are you with? Lieutenant Judea, which police force are you with?
This is your country. This is your
Everybody's
country.
got back out.
This is
Everybody's
our
got back out.
country.
Everybody's got back out.
This is our planet. This is our country. This is our planet. You cannot ruin it without comments. They are ruining the planet for profit.
Which police force are you with?
NYPD.
What's your badge number? Judea, how do you spell that?
Man, oh, that's crazy. Absolutely insane. And again, that person will get no justice, won't ever be held accountable for that. And that's why they continue to do it. Again, we talk about it all the time. The children that you let kick and scream, and then you just end up giving them the toy in the grocery store every time. So every time they kick and scream until they get it, that's what we have recreated with the mentally ill liberals in this country. They're not fighting for justice. They're not fighting for anything good. They're attention-seeking people. That's what it is. They themselves need attention. They're not getting the attention they need. They're not getting the love they need a lot of times. And we've seen this back with 1776. I mean, if you look at all the people that were protesting the 1776 RM movement, or people that were fatally attracted to me, like Adderall Princess, we called it on day one, the day she walked up, that she was lonely. She had no family that wanted to be around her, and she was probably abusing drugs. And we got all three of those things right. So much so that she would have to cry on live streams and saying she was glad her dad was dead. I mean, sick stuff that just normal people don't say. It gives them, when your life's that miserable, people usually act out. And this gives them that moment of bliss that they're looking for in their life. And it's only temporary, just like pissant. High, 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 and then crash low, low, low because of mental health issues. And these people just are not normal. Speaking of not normal, listen to Nancy Pelosi try to fumble through this right now. This is one of those things where you're like, oh, okay.
For Arcadia Produce for hosting us today. This is a remarkable place. I hope you had a chance to see the force of it all. Small businesses like Arcadia are the lifeblood of the American economy, with their great optimism, entrepreneurialism, and courage. It is a privilege to join so many small business owners and community leaders during this cost of living week in America. All over the country, House Democrats are having events with the community about bringing down the cost of living. That was something the president promised.
She is just as bad as Biden, man. She just seemed completely lost, and it's just, Can you believe these are the people representing us? Man, our founders would have rolled over. So yesterday on the drive there, we talked about a couple things. One of the things that we talked about is it was made public that the DA in Minnesota was not going to prosecute criminally on the vandal who vandalized Teslas, who works for Tim Walsh. And I just want you to see this because this is a double standard of justice. This is why I think this is what breeds some of the violence. And when I say that, like, you know what? If you ran into somebody keying a Tesla or keying multiple Teslas, $20,000 in damage is what this guy did. And you realize nothing's going to happen. You're going to be the justice system in some points. We've seen vigilante justice before, but listen to this.
Him to go through a diversion program. So diversion is accountability. The case was submitted to us by the police. Decline it. We looked at the case. What we really wanted was for the victims in that case to get restitution and for this person to be held accountable. We are accomplishing both of those by requiring him to go through a diversion program and to pay restitution to all 6 victims. What happened to those victims of those Teslas should not have happened. And just like any other property offense, which is one of the lowest level offenses that we have, we seek to hold people accountable in a way that will be consistent with public safety. And diversion is a proven way of doing that. So diversion is accountability.
So listen to what she says here.
Diversion program and to pay restitution to all 6 victims. What happened to those victims of those Teslas should not have happened. And just like any other property offense.
She's calling it a property offense. So if you have a transgender flag or a gay flag and I go and burn it, is it a property offense? Well, in all reality, you could say it should be. No, there's a specialized group of people that get special privileges and they are protected more than your average hardworking American that can afford a Tesla. Again, this was done as a discrimination and a political statement. This is not just your typical vandalism. But again, you go to these places, especially in Minnesota, and find out that Mary Moriarty, I think is the DA's name, also got funding from George Soros. So why would she prosecute? Listen to this. This is just a quick clip I thought was funny because we have Randy Weingarten, the lesbian with no children that wants to be in charge of your child's education, putting all the indoctrination, flaming up the unions, all that. Listen to what she says and what
matter.
You have
actually
very difficult
Martha, sweetheart, listen to me.
Please don't call me sweetheart.
It actually does. I'm sorry. My bad. It actually.
Sweetheart, man. I actually use that term a lot. I sweetheart, waitress, whatever. It's just, I don't know if it's how I was raised or what, but from the left side, that is a bad word to call someone sweetheart. It really is. You can go look at their banned words to use. And it's just interesting that the union boss arguing over the failing test scores, because the more money we've spent on education through the Federal Department of Education, the worse our scores have gotten. And the way she says, sweetheart, she says, don't call me sweetheart. I like it. So, the fake news have been on another attack, and we're going to show you why here a little later in the show. But they've been attacking Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth constantly. The first time it didn't work, I mean, they've been saying, oh, he's drinking on the job, all these fake news articles. And then there's been a news report come out. And again, the White House is doing great quashing all the fake news. The problem is legacy media never tells you the truth. They do a story I talked about when the house got raided. There's a prime example. They did all kind of false information on me when my house got raided. Oh, this and this and this. And all of it was fake. It was manufactured. And I actually had one person on my court date when I went in, because they refused to file charges because there was no charges to file, even though they wanted to put it out there that I had some type of illegal gun or something. And one reporter called, and I know this reporter. I've been on the scene with this reporter. And you mind if I call the public defender in this case and find out what the background was? I said, go ahead. Public defender calls me up and says, hey, this person so-and-so wants information on the case. I said, give it to him. And they got that information. Did you know they never published anything? But if it would have been the other way around, and oh my God, yeah, he's going to face 2 felonies, or yeah, he lied about this or anything, it would have been all over the media again. And again, I'm grateful. I think God allows things to happen for my mind to be in a certain place. But this one right here was just funny. Secretary of Defense Hegseth recently ordered a modification of the green room next to the Pentagon press briefing room to add a makeup studios that can be used for prep to TV appearances. It says the price tag for the project was several $1,000s. The space previously had minimal furnishings, a new director style chair, and large mirror with makeup lighting was installed. Listen to this. Makeup lighting? Wow. Hegseth has used the briefing room for Fox News hits. A spokesman confirmed the green room change and said, for this upgrade, we were deliberately conservative and opted for several less expensive on-hand material solutions. So they did an upgrade to something. And then look at this. This was DOD rapid response. Every department has a rapid response team. And so they put it up there, and they also put a picture of it so Americans can see, transparency. Look at this. It says, does the fake news not have anything better to do? No lighted mirror like they wanted to see. So, wow, there's a mirror on the wall. It didn't cost thousands. The items that were added to the green room, not a makeup studio, came from existing inventory. What's so wrong? Are you serious? The fake news has nothing, but they're trying to destroy, and we're going to show you why in a minute with some of Pete Hegseth's comments. So yesterday it came out, I think it was yesterday, the day before, we were on the road, and we heard that it was floating around a possibility the Trump administration is considering $5,000 baby bonus to all American mothers after giving birth. The proposal aims to convince people to marry and have children. The incentives are being considered to combat declining birth rates in the U.S. Now, we don't talk about birth rates a whole lot. I didn't think like 3-4 years ago is that big of a deal until I actually looked into it. I know Elon spoke on it. And then I found some podcasts that actually gave me a background of, just declining birth rates in multiple countries. And so I was like, now, I don't know if I agree with $5,000, whatever they're calling it, baby bonus. I believe now if that it says that the proposal aims to convince people to marry and have children. Now, I think if you're married and you're doing this, I think there should, obviously, if Trump does it, there should be some limitations. A single mother that's just spreading her legs across the community shouldn't get $5,000 per child. You're married. Okay, good for you. You did it right? I know I'm going to get some kickback for that one. But listen to this. Everything Trump does has to somehow be white supremacy. Well, the one and only View, listen to what this bozo had to say. I cannot believe some of the stuff that comes out.
because when I look at something like this, these proposals, I want to know why, and I want to know who's making them. And so when I looked into that, they're saying that the U.S. birth rate is declining. However, in 2024, there was a 1% increase in U.S. births, but that increase was with Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers. So they don't seem to be concerned about that increase. They seem to be more concerned about a decrease in other populations.
Say it.
No, I think I said enough.
It's not based on that.
And so, well, it's just based on a study. And so the other thing
But have
I
they
will
said that anywhere? I mean, I feel like it should be fair.
It's just
fair to who?
It's just a.
Have they said that this is to target only white families?
Oh, I didn't say that.
You have to read between the lines.
I just gave the stats.
I just gave the stats. Well, you're pretty stupid. I mean, again, you don't get much dumber than this. So she was correct on the stats. We've actually pulled up some of the stats. So if President Trump did enact this, let's talk about those who are giving birth based on race. Based on the most recent data from 2022, Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander women had the highest total fertility rate in the U.S. Not white. Not white. So they would receive most of it. It said this is notably higher than the national average. So they had 2,237 births per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44. It said that is notably higher than the 1,656 births per 1,000 women. And it says, for context, other fertility rates in 2022 were lower, with Hispanic women around 1959. So Hispanic is up there, Pacific Islanders are up there, and other ethnic groups like blacks and whites have lower rates. So I think this could be her being racist against Pacific Islander women and Hispanics. It had nothing to do with the color of your skin. But again, what do they come out and say? Oh, well, this is for a specific skin color group. I mean, the way things are going, someone put go Elon and said Elon certainly is doing his part. Yes, Elon is doing a lot to help our population. I'll tell you that much. Let me ask one more question. Birth. So I'm going to ask the birth rate because this has been a huge topic on a lot of very intelligent people's mind for a couple years. So 2005, what the hell is the difference between crude and general? (2005) around 2.06 children per woman, and in 2023, 1.62. That makes a big. It says the total fertility rate has fallen by 21%. 21.4%. So when you bring up a statistics that said it was up 1%, you're still down 20%. That isn't going to fix the problem. And again, when you understand how economic works and how the younger folks are really taking care of the older folks, especially when you're on a Social Security style income, this could crash an economy. This could crash an economy. It says the U.S. birth rate has been declining steadily since the Great Recession in 2007-2009, with a 17-year downward trend. That's crazy. So I've done my part. I got 3 of them, guys. No more. No more. And I just thought this was interesting, too. In California, we love socialism. Our budget's bad. We're in the hole. So this has happened. Remember when Gavin Newsom said during COVID, this is our opportunity for a progressive new era. We need to change. Well, right then, he started sending out what we call, I guess, EBT cards. Even when my daughter she's 18 now, so like 16 and 17, they literally sent a card to our house with, I don't know, $390. And that was for the child's lunch during school. And I'm like, what's the reason for this? Well, he announced again, check this out, new over 4 million Californian children will automatically, you don't have to sign up, you don't have to say you're low income, will receive Sunbucks food benefits via EBT card this summer. California is proud to lead the nation in beating childhood hunger. It is absolutely essential that no kid goes hungry. These are, again, people, when you're against a program like this. Oh, you don't want kid to eat? No, never said that. Never said that. Many of the people that need to eat are already getting SNAP benefits. So now you're just spending more money, and it hasn't proven to pull anybody out of poverty. And again, if you need government assistance to pull you out of poverty, now you're in government poverty. Now, if you create a climate where people can go to work and earn a good income because you have less regulations and freedom for business to actually do business in your state, then you don't have people on the government tit. But what Democrats want is you dependent on the government. You hear about it right now with Medicaid. Oh, man, we got to extend Medicaid. We got to do this. Gavin Newsom gave it to every illegal alien in this state, which cost $9.6 billion last fiscal year. That's why it's bankrupt. That's why he's asking for more money. That's why he's begging for more money. Another 3-point-something billion dollars. And these programs right here, just another incentive. And when I seen this article, I also seen this. It looked like Eyewitness 7 out of LA did a little hit piece. It says LA faces nearly a $1 billion budget shortfall. This is the city of LA. We're not talking about the state of California. The city of LA. She released all this, and there's like 697, over 1,600 layoffs that are planned in her current budget. Now, I didn't see anybody out there protesting. I didn't see those USAID people out there protesting saying, no, this includes veterans, guys. I don't hear the fake veterans group out there saying, well, you can't let go of. Well, actually, you can. When you spend like this, watch this little video here.
Such a financial mess right now is because we are seeing every single year the city's paying out more and more money because it's being hit with more and more lawsuits. So let's start right here. In fiscal year 2022, we can see the city had to dish out more than $91 million, again, all because of lawsuits being hit against the city. Next year went up to $166 million. In fiscal year 2024, it really surged up to $247 million. Again, these are your tax dollars. Today, we did sit down with the LA controller. He is the financial watchdog for the city. He told us based on his projections, he thinks for the current fiscal year, the city is going to be dishing out $300 million because of these lawsuits.
That keeps taking away because we just can't generate money like the federal government. We rely on every dollar. And so if we spend $500 million on lawsuits in literally two years, that money is going to take away from the city to spend on other, basic city services and keep people employed.
All right, so the controller is not kidding there. The 7 on Your Side Investigates team took all the civil payout data and we isolated every single civil payout from the beginning of 2023 through the end of 2024. And sure enough, it adds up to $546 million. So we're right near that $500 million mark. So we can dig through this even deeper and we can see about half that money went to payouts because of lawsuits against the LAPD. If we even go down further, we can see $74.8 million went out to payouts because of lawsuits against the Bureau of Street Services. So let's say, for example, you get your car banged up because a city street's not well maintained. That all falls under this category. That's followed by the Bureau of Sanitation, which had to pay out $74.3 million, all because of lawsuits. So because the LAPD takes up such a big chunk of this, we can even do a deeper dive right here. Using current data from the LA Controller's Office, we can see so far for this current fiscal year, about half of the money that the LAPD paid out in lawsuits had to do with allegations of excessive or abuse of force. About a quarter of it was because of traffic collisions involving department employees. That's followed by professional negligence lawsuits, then employment lawsuits. Today, we did reach out to the LAPD and we did ask them, are they changing any policies? Are they doing anything different to try to stop these lawsuits? So far, we have yet to hear back. Reporting live in the studio, Kevin Ozebek, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
You notice how
One of the reasons why the city's in such
I just think this was interesting. First of all, the city $1 billion budget shortfall. They're going to do all kind of layoffs. A lot of those lawsuits, to be honest with you, between the LAPD, we've covered some of them on here and there. It's amazing that anybody should be awarded money for breaking the law and then an officer doing the job. But it's LA. We're seeing that more and more in liberal cities. We've seen that in the state of Washington, Portland, Oregon, where police go in and try to arrest people that are protesting. And it was excessive use of force when, like, they were throwing rocks and bottles at police officers, just stupid stuff. But the thing this didn't dig into is how much money has been spent on the homeless, how much money, again, with no audits and nothing done. They can't sit here and say, oh, well, we had 21,000 homeless and now we have 2,000. No, it's like we had 21,000 homeless and now we have 24,000 after billions of dollars been spent. And
financial mess right now is because we are seeing,
again, when you have Gavin Newsom sending out these little EBT cards, you don't have to ask for them. Oh, you got a child in California. It's just bad for everybody. So, you know, I seen this.
Natural blowback from that.
I want you to listen to this. And Democrats think this is somehow a win. We knew Elon Musk would be temporary on the Doge, doing that temporary. And then he would step aside, but he would still be part of trying to fix the waste, abuse, and fraud in the government. I want you to listen to this really quick.
Efficiency or Doge. I think the work that we're doing there is actually very important for trying to rein in the insane deficit that is leading our country, the United States, to destruction. And the Doge team has made a lot of progress in addressing waste and fraud. The natural blowback from that is those who were receiving the wasteful dollars and the fraudulent dollars will try to attack me and Doge team and anything associated with me. So then I'm really left with two choices. Should we just let the waste and fraud continue? And it was continuing at it to grow at a really unsustainable pace that was bankrupting the country, or to fight the waste and fraud and try to get the country back on the right track. And I believe the right thing to do is to fight the waste and fraud and get the country back on the right track, and working together with President Trump and his administration. Because if the ship of America goes down, we all go down with it, including Tesla and everyone else. So I think this is this critical work. Now, the protests that you'll see out there, they're very organized, they're paid for. They're obviously not going to admit that the reason that they're protesting is because they're receiving fraudulent money, or that they're the recipients of wasteful largesse, but they're going to come up with some other reason. But that is the real reason for the protests. The actual reason is that those receiving the waste and fraud wish to continue receiving it. That is the real thing that's going on here, obviously. So now that said, I do think there's the large slug of work necessary to get the Doge team in place and working in the government to get the financial house in order is mostly done. And I think starting probably in next month, May, my time allocation to Doge will drop significantly. I'll have to continue doing it for, I think, probably the remainder of the president's term, just to make sure that the waste and fraud that we stop does not come roaring back.
So I wanted you to hear, especially that end part. So before I even seen this or listened to this, I hear the left like, "Oh yay," you know how they want to get clickbait. Musk is out of Doge in May. It's working. Blah blah blah. And they refuse to tell their sorry little followers that he says he's going to be part of Doge till the end of President Trump's term. He's going to confirm that we're not funding 3 years from now transgender operas in Siberia. And he brought up a very valid point, which was, again, look at how hard they've gone after Tesla. Again, these organizations that were receiving a lot of your tax dollars through NGOs and nonprofits and everything else are fighting against Elon because it was his team that uncovered that stuff. And I think this is great news. Again, I honestly thought January 20th was Inauguration Day. If you would have asked me in February, I would have thought he would have stepped out in April, but he's going to be doing it in May, so a little bit longer than I thought. He's putting all the people in place, and then he's going to go back and focus on his many companies, and then he's going to do this part-time. So Elon Musk is not going anywhere, folks, and he's done incredible work, and I truly feel what he said right there is more American than most American-born citizens. When he says, well, guess what? I can walk away and just focus on the companies and they'll do great. Or we continue to fight for America. It's a sinking ship. We'll all go down with the ship. So we're going to fight. There's not too many people in this world that put as much on the line, everything on the line, like Elon Musk has. And there's some things I disagree with him on. There's some things I absolutely disagree with him on. But for the most part, he purchased X. I think he did a fabulous job with X. There's still some improvements that need to happen. You don't get complete free speech. But overall, I think he's a very intelligent man, and he sees what's going on. He sees what's wrong with the world. And he sees what's wrong with the United States. And again, I love when we were at that Tesla program and they're like, or that Tesla protest, and they're like, well, the government isn't a business. No. Because a business, you can't steal from people and give to people. The government plays Robin Hood. You can't do that in a business. But the government needs to be run more like a business. You have to have actual budgets that you can hit. You have to be efficient. Again, any government agency where people think it's been efficient, it's efficient if you haven't had an issue or had a problem. Just like government health care, the Medicaid, I could tell you what we have Medi-Cal here, which is part of the Medicaid program in California. I told you, my mom passed away 1.5 years ago. And I remember her leaving the doctor's office. We would go to her cancer appointments with her, and she would come back to the house to hang out with Caden. And she'd spend the next 1.5 hours, 2 hours on the phone with Medicaid, Medi-Cal. Well, why is this only covered for this much? She was living on a limited income. Now, if she would have had the insurance she had when she was working before she retired, guess what? She wouldn't have been dealing with all that because it's government sponsored, and they have to pick and choose and rationalize health care because they got to cover millions of illegal aliens that's costing $9.6 billion, billion dollars. The people that actually have put the blood, sweat, and tears into California and made this country great, like my mother, by working hard, sacrificing, those people are left out to the pasture. Oh, well, that's okay. Well, my mom on the phone. I'm waiting for approval on this. The doctor says I need this special kind of scan for my cancer. Oh, we're working on it. 3 weeks later, we're working on it. This is your government healthcare that Democrats just love, and they want you on it too. They want everybody on government-run healthcare, and it's an absolute joke. Take a look at this. I love this statement from our press secretary. I love how she did this. Exciting morning for the fake news. President Trump did an impromptu press gaggle outside the White House after checking out the North Lawn. Most accessible president ever. And I just love exciting morning for fake news. I love that part. Take a look. Look at him running, guys. She's laughing. Fake news. I can tell you some of them need to get out there and jog because they don't look like they can move if they needed to. And what, he did go out to the White House lawn. He talked about a couple things. He is putting up 2 massive flagpoles with American flags on both sides of the White House, and he is paying for them with his own money. Take a listen to this.
Another one on the other side on top of the mounds. It's going to be putting up a beautiful, almost American flag on this side and another one on the other side, 2 flags, top of the line. And they've needed flagpoles for 200 years. It was something I've often said, they don't have a flagpole per se. So we're putting one right where you saw us, and we're putting another one on the other side on top of the mounds. It's going to be 2 beautiful poles.
So you won't believe it, but Democrats are triggered about the American flag and the flagpoles. This is a picture of him out there. Man, I've been right there. I wish I could be there one day when he does that. But this is C-SPAN, a longer video. We're just going to go through some of it. But this is him talking to his people. Come on. See if it bumps up or I have to restart it. Let me restart it. Okay, here we go. Look, he's taking a walk all around that fence that we've been outside of before. I'm just skimming through. And look, he goes all the way out to, what's that street? I can't think of the street name. Not Pennsylvania. Just backing up, see if I can find that one shot. I guess I'm not going to find it. Oh, it's probably right there. Now, anyways, so he was doing that. He had some other comments to make today. This was, let's see. Yeah, he put this out today about Ukraine. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is boasting on the front page of the Wall Street Journal that Ukraine will not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There's nothing to talk about here. The statement is very harmful to the peace negotiations with Russia in that Crimea was lost years ago under the auspices of President Barack Hussein Obama and is not even a point of discussion. Nobody is asking Zelensky to recognize Crimea as Russian territory. But if he wants Crimea, why didn't they fight for it 11 years ago when it was handed over to Russia without a shot being fired? The area also houses, for many years before the Obama handover, major Russian submarine bases. It's inflammatory statements like Zelensky that makes it so difficult to settle this war. He has nothing to boast about. The situation for Ukraine is dire. He can have peace or he can fight for another 3 years before losing the whole country. I have nothing to do with Russia, but have much to do with wanting to save, on average, 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a week who are dying for no reason whatsoever. The statement made by Zelensky today will do nothing but prolong the killing field, and nobody wants that. We are very close to a deal, but the man with no cards to play should know, finally, Get it done. I look forward to be able to help Ukraine and Russia get out of this complete and total mess that would have never started if I was president. Again, Zelensky doesn't want a deal. Zelensky was in the White House acting a fool less than a month ago. You know, the cash cow's kind of over for Zelensky. He thinks somehow that he's going to get more and more billions from the United States. And that's probably not the answer to go with. Listen to this.
And in order to make a good deal, both sides have to walk away a little bit unhappy. And unfortunately, Zelensky has been trying to litigate this peace negotiation in the press, and that's unacceptable to the president. These should be closed-door negotiations. The president's national security team, his advisors, have exuded significant time, energy, and effort to try to bring this war to an end. The American taxpayer has funded billions of dollars in this effort, and enough is enough. The president's frustrated. His patience is running very thin. He wants to do what's right for the world. He wants to see peace. He wants to see the killing stop. But you need both sides of the war willing to do that. And unfortunately, President Zelensky seems to be moving in the wrong direction. And in order to make...
Yep. And again, Zelensky doesn't care about the soldiers. Zelensky doesn't care about the soldiers. Now, earlier we talked about Pete Hegseth, the attacks on Pete Hegseth. There's all kind of rumors going around that the White House just put out the fire. They're trying to get out to legacy media, to get out to the people that don't do their own homework and look into this stuff. What is going on, right? What is going on? Well, this is the reason they're doing it. I love this. I love
no
this
more
about
electric
Pete.
tanks.
Check this.
At the Defense Department, that means no more distractions. No more social engineering. No more climate change worship. No more electric tanks. No more gender confusion. No more pronouns. No more excuses. No more quotas. No more woke bullshit that undermines commanders and command climates. We are laser focused on our mission of warfighting.
That's all they need to be there for. And like he said, no more woke, no more BS. This is why they're attacking him so hard. Again, the deep state, the DEI crews, the people that literally for years have, you know, wanted to put people into like, let me ask you a question. And I've read some articles lately. I've been looking into them and trying to find some stories of people that, you know, these guys that go into the military just to get a transition surgery. I'm sorry, but that's not normal. My tax dollars shouldn't go to pay for that. That is not health care. That is the opposite of health care. Like if I went to the service tomorrow and said, you know what, I'm going to go, I'm going to do my boot camp, I'm going to get stationed here. And I'm like, I just don't like my left arm. I want you to remove my left arm. You as a taxpayer should not pay for that. And again, we have these groups of people out there that are fighting, the DEI crew that are fighting to have you, the taxpayer, pay for their mutilation surgeries. And that's why there's so much fight against this, is because, again, these people fighting us, they don't want us to have a strong military. They don't want America to be the superpower it once was. That's why they're the same. When we were at that school board meeting last night, the two people I was sitting by had these little handmade fan wavers, you know, to keep you cool. I don't know what they're called. One side had a Palestinian flag on it. Why don't you go there and go to one of their board meetings? See how that works out for you. No, you would rather, again, just like the people that didn't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you guys didn't see that, it's just disgusting. But again, those are the people. They want America to be the third world country. That's what they feel equality is. Well, if people in Africa somewhere have to walk 2 miles to get 3 cups of water out of a well, it's not right for us to just have it pouring out of our faucets. That's the way they think. But in other news, check this out. Military recruitment is just soaring right now. Look at this. They had some goals. Soon as Trump won the election, attained, look at this. This was November of 2024. Look at the difference between November and February. 11,000 versus 23,000. That was the U.S. Army. Navy, 6,000 versus 16,000. And they have high goals, and look at them. 115% of goal, 105% of goal, 106% of goal. This is just great. Space Force. Almost all of them have doubled or tripled in recruitment, guys, because people want to be war fighters. People, you got these young men and some women that their love for this country, and they see what's going on around us. They see what's going on, and all they want is to be part of the solution and to serve their country. And now they're doing that under President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and I think it's great news. Now, yesterday, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments. I don't know what the case was called. I didn't pull that up. I don't think I got it here. But it was about curriculum. And I think it was it Jewish faith and Muslims, or Christians and Muslims band together to sue? I think it was, is it Maryland? I might be off on the state. I read it late last night, so I didn't have all the details right now, but I will give you the gist of it. And they were saying they want to opt out of the LGBT curriculum. That it goes against their religions, right? Whether you're Muslim or Christian or many religions, that goes against your religion. And they have, it went all the way up to the Supreme Court because the districts and the states are saying, no, your children cannot opt out of this LGBT agenda stuff. And I want you to listen to a couple things that were said here. This woman, this is the one that could not define what a woman is during her confirmation hearing. Listen to what she says right here.
To put their kid elsewhere. You don't have.
Oh, come on. Let me refresh this one. I'm on. Listen.
The parent can choose to put their kid elsewhere. You don't have to send your kid to public school. I'm struggling to see how it burdens a parent's religious exercise if the school teaches something that the parent disagrees with. You have a choice. You can homeschool them. The parent can choose.
Listen to that.
To put their kid.
The parent can choose to put their kid elsewhere. So pretty much, you Christians and everybody, and you know what? We've been begging for that. A school voucher program so I can put my kids in a Christian school and get them all away from this woke DEI. I don't know what a woman is. Men can be a woman. Mentally ill stuff, right? But this is just, you can homeschool. This is just amazing that this is coming out of the Supreme Court. Again, not all the Supreme Court. This one is, again, a DEI appointment. This is the definition of DEI. And I wanted to say thank you, Krista, for the Venmo. Krista says, say hi to Rachel and Caden. Love you all. Thank you, Krista, so much for the Venmo. Thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it. We can't do it without your guys' love and support, guys. But again, I could just imagine flipping the script on this. You know, when we talked about other curriculum issues, you have the left trying to push curriculum on. I couldn't imagine her saying that. Maybe somewhere in Minnesota or somewhere like that where there's a really popular Muslim community, or really not popular, wrong word, where they have a large population of a Muslim community, they actually teach Muslim stuff in their local schools. Could you imagine her saying, well, if you want that, you can homeschool? It would be racist. It would be everything else. We just had Attorney General Pam Bondi open up a committee or whatever they want to call it on the attack on Christianity in this country. We've seen it. Now, this isn't it. Listen to this. I think we got another one from her. Listen to this one.
We don't at this moment, based on the record you've provided, know that these books aren't just sitting on the shelves. And you've said that if that's the case, that's not going to be enough.
I disagree, Your Honor. The record is undisputed. And I, again, will refer you to the district court transcript at 63, where counsel.
So you're saying the Fourth Circuit is wrong when it says, quote, we don't have any information about how any teacher or school employee has actually used any of the books.
The Court of Appeals did not dispute that some of the books have to be used, and we have all of the
I
teachers'
understand that.
that the board's not disputed.
Understand that, but the Fourth Circuit made a ruling that we don't know, quote, what any child has been taught in conjunction with their use. So are you saying that you do have affidavits and information about teachers in the classroom and what they've taught children of different ages about these books?
Yes, we do. All of our clients have, in their declarations, they describe which books are going to be read to their children.
Were the clients in the classroom?
They were not in the classroom, but they know. And again, we don't have to wait until the injury has happened to get relief. The point of a preliminary injunction is that we can, when the injury is imminent, we can seek relief.
All right, let me ask you another.
Before our children's innocence is destroyed.
Let me ask you another series of questions, because I'm just trying to.
This is a Supreme Court justice right here saying all of our clients in their declarations, they describe which books were going to be read to their children. Were the clients in the classroom? It's part of a freak. Their children cannot opt out. That's what they are fighting for, just an opt out. And you have Justice Katanya Brown Jackson, DEI justice herself, literally defending this. And then at the beginning, listen to what she says. And it's a preschool classroom that they're talking about. And in the library, listen to this.
We don't at this moment, based on the record you've provided, know that these books aren't just sitting on the shelves.
So they're in the schools. We don't know if they're just sitting on the shelves. Like the school spends tens of thousands of dollars just to keep the books on the shelf. We don't know that they had any intent to teach these to the children. Holy cow. But listen to this. This was great. Kavanaugh came through on one. Listen to this. And then we got
the country has opt-outs for all sorts of things. The county has opt-outs for all sorts. In the country has opt-outs for all sorts of things. The county has opt-outs for all sorts of things. The other Maryland counties have opt-outs for all sorts of things. And yet for this one thing, they changed in mid-year and say no more opt-outs. I'm just not understanding feasibility.
So again, I think what's in the record is that with respect to these books as they were deployed in the classroom, there was high absenteeism in some schools. For example, dozens of students being opted out in, I think Mr. Baxter said the average size of an elementary school in Montgomery County is 700 students. So each grade is 125. If you have dozens of students walking out, making arrangements for those students to have adequate space and supervision and alternative instruction, I think is infeasible.
But they do it for all sorts of other opt-outs.
They don't do it for all sorts of other opt-outs. There's a limited universe of things that students can opt out from. The Family Life and Healthy Sexuality curriculum stands alone. It is mandated by the state. It is something where you are able to predict precisely when the curriculum is going to be deployed. There's a
It's the most similar substantively to what we have here, and there's an opt-out allowed there. I guess I'm not understanding why Montgomery County School Board stands alone. I think in the country, you can tell me if there's another school board that's done something like this.
I apologize.
Both the kind of books that are being used and prohibiting opt-outs. And I guess I'm just not understanding the whole goal, I think, of some of our religion precedents is to look for the win-win, to look for the situation where you can respect the religious beliefs and accommodate the religious beliefs while the state or city or whatever it may be can pursue its goals. And here, they're not asking you to change what's taught in the classroom. They're not asking you to change that at all. A lot of the rhetoric suggests that they might have, that they were trying to do that, but that's not what they're trying to do. They're only seeking to be able to walk out so that they don't have to, the parents don't have their children exposed to these things that are contrary to their own beliefs.
I understand, Your Honor. And
how crazy is that? One of the, the only thing you can't opt out of pretty much is the LGBTQ curriculum. And that's what these people are fighting for. And listen to how this guy defends it. And if that many people are going to walk out because they said, listen to how he says it. He says the capacity to have these people in other places outside the classroom. And it's not word for word. I'm going to play it again. But think about that. You have that many people that don't want this. Maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you're not serving the children of your community. Maybe you're serving the woke left, woke mind virus that wants all this pedophilia and everything else in the education system. Listen.
Yet for this one thing, they changed in mid-year and say no more opt-outs. I'm just not understanding feasibility.
So again, I think what's in the record is that with respect to these books as they were deployed in the classroom, there was high absenteeism in some schools. For example, dozens of students being
high absenteeism in some schools. They don't worry about absenteeism and anything else. I'd have to go and look at how Maryland schools do it and how California schools did it up until COVID. And then the more people started homeschooling and it hurt the school districts, they had to move things around. But schools, and it used to be like $63 or $72 a day is what a school got paid in my local area. Some areas around us were more, but 72, somewhere in the $70 range. So if your child missed 10 days, that was $720 at the school. Now think of how many kids go to a school when you could have hundreds of kids absence a day. And you're doing this however long you're doing it. Say they're doing 3 days of this LGBT. You take 100 kids, that's $7,200 times 3 days. And you're looking somewhere, what is that? 72, 14, 4, 20, 21, 6 that the school's losing. And so the schools work with the state. And what they did during COVID in California is they said, you know what? We're going to give you an enrollment pay. So it doesn't matter if the kid comes to school or not, because many parents were keeping their kids out for numerous reasons, and it was affecting the schools. They couldn't let the conservatives win. They wanted to still get that funding to the school. So they got that funding to the school regardless. Because again, it wasn't how many were enrolled in to begin with. And then you have this guy, and I think that just says a lot. Listen.
I think what's in the record is that with respect to these books as they were deployed in the classroom, there was high absenteeism in some schools.
High absenteeism in some schools. So they want to force Christians, Muslims, people, and again, you have a right to practice your religion and it cannot be infringed upon. If it is against your religion for these things, and I remember growing up, we had, I can't even remember what it was. I mean, let's just look at Jehovah Witnesses. I went to school with Jehovah Witnesses, and they would pull their kids out on when we would do like Halloween and we would celebrate other things. Even when there was birthday celebrations in the classroom, the teacher had to notify so the mother or father could come pick up the child. It was not abnormal where I live. We have a lot of Jehovah Witnesses in the area. Great. You're giving that parent an opportunity. That is their religion. That is what they believe in. Even if it's a religion I disagree with. But when it comes to the LGBT agenda, nope. Take a look at this. Why does this thing keep opening up? There was an ABC 7 post that said Supreme Court leans towards parents in dispute over LGBTQ storybooks in school. Why are we even talking about this? This is what's crazy. Oh, that's right. When you take a 5-year-old and you tell them about, 2 men having oral sex, that educates them. So I'm going to read this to you. It says the Supreme Court conservative majority on Tuesday night signaled that it's poised to establish a right of parents opt out their children from public school instruction that conflicts with sincerely held religious beliefs. The case, brought by a group of Christian, Muslim, and Jewish parents from Montgomery County, Maryland, specifically seeks a guaranteed exemption from the classroom reading of storybooks with LGBTQ themes, including same-sex marriage and exploration of gender identity. Amen. The parents' alleged use of the books in an elementary school curriculum without an opportunity to be excused amounts to a government-led indoctrination about sensitive matters of sexuality. The school board insists that the books merely expose kids to diverse viewpoints and ideas. Says the justice engaged in a spirit debate for more than 2.5 hours of oral arguments, wrestling with where to draw the line between exposure and coercion, which is forbidden under the First Amendment. Says it's merely being exposed to the reading of a book out loud coercion, asked Justice Sonia Sotomayor of the parents' attorney Eric Baxter. It's looking two men getting married. Is that the religious objection? I would say yes. It said our parents would object to that. It said several of the court's conservative members suggested an opt-out for sensitive subject should be common sense. First of all, it shouldn't even be in the education system. I mean, you've seen that summer camp. We have groomer programs all over, from Planned Parenthood to all these other places that do groomer programs. You want to put your kid in a groomer program, put them in one of those. It says, I'm a bit mystified as a lifelong resident of the county how it came to this, said Justice Brett Kavanaugh. I'm surprised that this is the hill we're going to die on in terms of not respecting religious liberty. It says in 2022, after introducing several LGBTQ-themed books into the language arts curriculum, the school board allowed parents to opt out if the content was deemed objectionable as a matter of faith. 1 year later, officials reversed course and said an opt-out program had become unwieldy and ran counter to values of inclusion. So they're putting inclusion, again, one of those words they like to use, the inclusive, tolerant people, forcing it down your throat. It says, I'm not understanding why it's not feasible, Kavanaugh said later. The whole goal of some of our religious precedents is to look for the win-win. So again, the conservative said, Justice Samuel Alito, who appeared most sympathetic to the parents, said he believes the 5 books in question out of more than 100 in the school curriculum have a clear message and that a lot of people disagree with it. Says, what is the big deal about allowing them to opt out? Alito asked the county attorney. Why is it not administrable? They are able to opt out of health class, right? So again, you don't want it to go into the classrooms. But what I was just talking about COVID and how we had good things come out of COVID, even though COVID was very bad. You know, you had, again, a indoctrination system that's forcing this on the parents. Unfortunate for the kids. But now this Supreme Court ruling is going to go all the way through the United States. Now we can sue in California because California does not allow you to opt out either. In California, they put it in so much curriculum. They put, again, you guys would not understand. It's not just the LGBT books is not how they get them into your kids. When you're in math and they give you a math workbook and it says Matt and his 2 dads are walking 4 miles per hour for 15 minutes. They put the 2 dads in there. There's so many examples of that. That's why I got involved in politics, and it's gotten so much worse. But I'm glad that we are finally fighting back. Let me hit this really quick. Boom. Check this out, guys. Black. Let's see. Weak coffee is for the weak, and at Rumble, weak has never been part of the mission. No fillers, no fraud, and no settling for mediocrity. Just like 1775 coffee. It's single origin, small farm, hand-picked specialty grade coffee that stands for quality, free speech, and calling out BS when it matters. Forget stale, mass-produced beans, roasted just enough to hide the flaws. Dark roast hits like a Trump tariff. Medium roast keeps it bold without the bitterness. And Vitality Mushroom Blend, real energy and lasting focus. No synthetic garbage. For K-Cups, whole beans, or fresh ground coffee, go to 1775 Coffee. Use code STUDIO for 15% off and start your morning with coffee that stands for something. And every dollar spent enters you to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 cash. So go check them out, guys. 1775coffee.com. Again, a coffee that supports free speech. Imagine that. You don't see that very often. How about this? Republicans did a little advertisement, if you will, for Senate Democrats. Watch this.
Put out an ad. Watch this. NRCC, so this is the NRCC, so this is the House campaign arm of the Republican Party, put out a statement, and it read in part, we'll pay for the plane tickets for these House Democrats going to El Salvador and Senate Democrats. They just can't forget to smile for the cameras as they sell out their constituents. And then the NRSC, that's the Republican Senate campaign arm, they put out an ad. Watch this.
Welcome to El Salvador, home to breathtaking sunsets, world-class surf breaks, and gangbanger Kilmer Abrego Garcia. So what are you waiting for, Senate Democrats? Join your colleagues and step into the rhythm of rescue today.
That is epic. What a great troll. This is like when Democrats flipped their lid on the Trump ad. They said, Donald Trump is for you, Kamala Harris is for they, them. And they thought it was going to flop. And when pollsters took a look at that ad, it resonated with America. It resonated with a majority of Americans because that's how they feel. This is epic. I just love it. What are you waiting for? And then they send out a tweet saying they're willing to pay for it. Keep doing your photo ops. Smile for the camera because it's just great. And what's interesting, more and more continues to come out of the so-called Maryland father, the Maryland man. This was a new one. DHS has confirmed to the New York Post that deported alleged MS-13 gangbanger Kilmer Abrego Garcia was driving a convicted human smuggler's car when he was stopped and suspected of human trafficking in 2022. Remember, he was pulled over coming from Texas to Maryland. We went to Texas. What was going on in Texas in 2022? A whole lot of human smuggling, right? We got it on video. So they literally had these people. He was driving with 8 illegals, people with no identity, all gave Kilmar's home address as their residence. The officers called the FBI, and the FBI said, just take pictures of them and release them. And this is who Democrats are fighting for. Now it's come out that he was actually driving a convicted human smuggler's vehicle. So somebody that has already been convicted of human smuggling, he's using their vehicle to do human smuggling. And Democrats want this man back in the United States, wants him in your neighborhood. Now, we got some other stuff. This changed kind of quickly. This is what the media, I think, was intended for, was calling out both sides fairly, just letting the people know the truth. This was an exclusive by Bill Malugin. It says the family of 2 teens killed by an illegal alien who crashed into them while drunk, high, and speeding at 100 miles an hour in Orange County in 2021 has been told by the state of California their killer will be released from prison early in July, just 3.5 years into his 10-year sentence for killing the teens, who both burned alive. Oscar Eduardo Ortega, a twice-deported Mexican illegal alien, had a lengthy rap sheet prior to killing 19-year-old Anaya Varfolomev and Nikolai Osokin in the DUI crash on the 405 freeway in Seal Beach in November 2021. Both were U.S. citizens, and they were dating. Ortega had several felony convictions, had gone to state prison, had multiple convictions for driving without a license, but was still on the streets when he crashed into the teen's vehicle. In the spring of 2022, Ortega was convicted in OC of 2 counts of gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated for killing the teens. The judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison for each count, but concurrently, meaning he would serve both 10-year sentences at the same time. The victims' families felt that was already a weak sentence, but they tell me they were notified by the California Department of Corrections on Easter Sunday that Ortega is scheduled for an early release on July 19, 2025, over only a little more than 3 years into his sentence, leaving the victim's family shocked and outraged, given the seriousness of the crime and his prior criminal history. They provided us with CDCR documents showing the July 19th release date. It said the California Department of Corrections wouldn't confirm the release date when I reached out, saying they cannot provide information on an incarcerated person's release date or location in advance of their release. They added that incarcerated persons may earn credit for participating in rehabilitative programming, which may move parole eligible dates to earlier date. ICE confirms to Fox News that they have placed a detainer on Ortega with the California Department of Corrections and intend to take him into custody upon his release. They hope the California Department of Corrections will honor the detainer request and transfer him to their custody upon release. What a crazy thing. He killed 2 people. He was already a convicted felon. He did time in prison here illegally. I mean, these are the people Gavin Newsom are using your tax dollars to give health insurance to in this state. After this story came out, listen to this.
News exclusive on the tragic consequences of an unsecured border. Hi, Bill. Been waiting to talk to you all morning.
Yeah, Dana, good morning to you. This illegal alien had a lengthy rap sheet here in California long before he ever killed these 2 California teenagers. He's got several felony convictions on his record, several convictions for driving without a license, but he was still out and about on California's roads. And this young American couple ended up paying the price for that. And now their killer is getting an early release. It was November 2021. A fiery collision on an Orange County freeway. A young couple dead, and the driver who crashed into them, a twice-deported illegal alien from Mexico with multiple felonies, in custody for being drunk, high, and speeding at nearly 100 miles per hour.
I get a knock on the door, and there's 2 police officers.
The pain written all over the face of Pavel Osokin, as he recalls being told his son Nikolai and his 19-year-old girlfriend Anya Varfolomeev, friends since they were kids, were gone.
They told me there was a horrible incident. My son and his girlfriend Anya basically were burned alive in their car.
She was my daughter. Anya's father, Anatoly, got a similar knock on the door that night.
He said Anya's name. I said, yes, it's my daughter. My wife came downstairs and she was screaming and crying. She said, no, 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 no.
In spring of 2022, a jury convicted Oscar Eduardo Ortega Anguiano on 2 counts of gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated. A judge sentenced him to 10 years. But on Easter Sunday, the family say they received this notice from the California Department of Corrections that on July 19th, he'll be getting out.
2 years for killing 2 kids. It's confusing to me. Why you give them 10 if they're going to spend 5 and then 3?
Yeah, 2 young, productive American citizens killed for nothing. And that illegal immigrant who already has been deported twice is going to be released again?
In a statement, the Department of Corrections wouldn't confirm the release, but said in part, quote, incarcerated persons may earn credits for participating in rehabilitative programs.
So welcome to, and we talk about California, the Department of Justice here, our prison systems. This happens more often than you can imagine. Again, killing 2 people and only getting 3.5 years, that's not a long time at all. We've had J6ers in there for a whole lot less. And thanks to Trump and his pardon, those people are not now out. But Gavin Newsom officially said a statement right here. Again, because again, he's trying to move to the middle. But it's interesting. Listen to this. It says, after being deported in 2013, this is from Gavin Newsom's press office, the individual unlawfully re-entered the U.S. and committed heinous crimes. A GOP DA, listen, then gave him a plea deal instead of pursuing second-degree murder. CDCR will again coordinate with ICE, as they have with 10,000 plus inmates, to transfer him before release. So now we are going to transfer him over to ICE on that detainer hold. But there's more to this, because he's trying to blame a DA. I'm going to close that one out. We don't need this one. Orange County District Attorney issues a statement on the DUI driver who killed 2 teenagers being released after serving just a fraction of his sentence. Check this out. It says Santa Ana, California, District Attorney Todd Spitzer released the following statement. A convicted felon who was twice previously deported is being released after serving just a fraction of his sentence for killing 2 19-year-olds because California Governor Gavin Newsom and the state legislator refused to hold criminals accountable. This was not a plea deal. This was a defendant who pled to the court and was sentenced by a judge under California law over the objection of Orange County prosecutors who unsuccessfully argued for the maximum sentence. Now, let's go back here. Look at it. Says a GOP day gave him a plea deal. This is Governor Newsom. These are the lies the media needs to hold this punk accountable for. It says years of California crusades to put the rights of criminals over the rights of victims has resulted in the unimaginable pain inflicted on the grief-stricken parents of 19-year-old Anna M. and 19-year-old Nikolai O., who had to be told that the man who killed their children while driving drunk and high more than 100 miles an hour is considered a non-violent offender under California's law and is eligible for early release and will serve less than 50% of his prison sentence. It says killing 2 human beings while drunk is anything but nonviolent. But in California, someone convicted of drunk and injuring someone would actually spend more time behind bars than the driver who kills while under the influence. A disgusting fact that the Orange County District Attorney's Office has repeatedly tried to correct, lobbying for stronger laws to prevent DUI drivers from being able to eligible for additional credits to enable early release. That's just insane. Caught. Gavin Newsom. And then Haha sent me this a little while ago. Look at this. This is from GV Wire. Newsom commutes sentence in 2009 to Larry County gang killing. It says, if there's a spot to play it. Sometimes there's a spot to play it. Governor Gavin Newsom has commuted the sentence of a man convicted in a 2009 gang-related murder in Orosi, granting clemency to Richard Miguel Garcia, 39, the Tulare County District Attorney's Office said in a statement on Wednesday. Garcia was convicted in 2011 for his role in a shooting death of 18-year-old Arturo Bello, who was walking along a rural Orosi road. Prosecutors said Garcia and 3 fellow gang members were searching for rivals when they spotted Bello wearing a blue shirt, gang-affiliated attire. After stopping the car, the co-defendant exited and opened fire, killing the teen and injuring another. Garcia admitted he knew his associate was armed and that the group was actively looking for rival gang members, the DA office said. A jury found him guilty of second-degree murder, conspiracy, and gang-related firearm enhancement. He was originally sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. That sentence was later reduced to 40 years to life in prison due to a trial error regarding jury instructions. Since his conviction, Garcia has unsuccessfully petitioned 3 times for resentencing. Newsom took no action when Garcia filed for clemency in 2023. It says, with the swipe of a pen, the governor voided the decision of the jury and multiple decisions of the Tulare County jurists who presided where the crime took place, heard witnesses' testimony, and understood the impact to the community, said District Attorney Tim Ward. The defendant is only 1/3 of the way into his 40-year life sentence for a cold-blooded, violent crime. By his own admission, he and his co-defendants went looking to inflict violence that evening in 2009. They were literally hunting other human beings. It says Garcia is housed at the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility in Corcoran. He is now immediately eligible for parole hearing and potential release. Gavin Newsom, 40 years. That was in when? 2011. It's crazy, guys. This is what happens in Democrat-controlled areas, especially California. Check this out. This was Pomona, California yesterday. A raid unfolded around 8 a.m. ICE agents arrived outside, I believe it was a Home Depot.
Work. Only asking for work.
An early morning Immigration and Customs Enforcement raid at the Home Depot in Pomona swept up several day laborers as they waited outside hoping to be hired for the day. One of them, Carlos, narrowly avoided being caught. Speaking through an interpreter, he described the emotional toll.
I arrived here, and when I started seeing the scene, I started crying. The tears started leaving. We're here. We're human beings. We're only here to support ourselves and to maintain our families.
According to Carlos and other witnesses, the raid unfolded just around 8 a.m. as ICE agents arrived in both marked and unmarked vehicles, rounding up workers from the parking lot.
It took 15 to 20 day laborers who were only here asking for work. Only asking for work. It is unjust, it is immoral, and it should be a crime.
The crime is coming into this country illegally and also working under the table for cash as a day laborer, but we won't get into the crimes.
The raid sparked swift backlash. Local immigrant right groups, including the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice and the National Day Labor Organizing Network, organized an emergency press conference and rally, calling for calm and urging the undocumented community to know their rights.
And we know that these type of operations intend to intimidate people who are looking for an honest day of work, not to come to the day labor corners.
If you are detained, you can exercise your rights. You can refuse to answer questions, and you can ask to speak to an attorney.
Eyewitness News reached out to ICE for a comment. The agency issued this statement. Due to our operational tempo and the increased interest in our agency, we are not able to research and respond to rumors or specifics of routine daily operations for ICE.
If you guys don't remember, this was happening, and I think it was to set off the left and set off these activists. But before Trump even got into office, they had Border Patrol go into Bakersfield and start IDing people. Not under the Trump administration, but under the Biden, which set off and sparked all kind of controversy. And they literally went to gas stations and pulled up, blocked people into the parking stall and asking for their ID if they were, because they want this, they wanted to get their side fired up. And again, unfortunately, when you have a party that's not working with the party in control, there's plenty of things that could happen right now. Democrats could say, you're right, they're here illegally. Let's make a deal for DACA and let's work on immigration reform and let's deport those who are here illegally, but we'll work with DACA. Trump would say, okay, I need money for my wall and we'll do this. Even though he's getting money for his wall this time. Trump did that in, 2018, 2019? Gave Democrats the option. I'll work giving DACA a pathway to citizenship. I just need money to secure the border. And they said no, because they intended to do what they've done over the last 4 years under Joe Biden, which is have 15 to 20 million illegals come in here and then try to make it hard for Trump to deport them. That's what the whole thing is. Speaking of that, a federal judge in Colorado has temporarily blocked the use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport non-citizens from that state, requiring that they get at least 3 weeks notice before removal. You can't make this stuff up. What else do we got? Just got a couple more. And again, guys, we are 100% viewer funded. If you appreciate the programming, you want to support us, we appreciate you. We can't do it without you. We have a Venmo at Oreo Josh. We have Cash App, $Oreo Army. And we also have our Give, Send, Go down there on the bottom on the banner. It's givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And we appreciate your support. We also have a Zelle link if you want to go over to Zelle. You can go to our website, theoreoexpress.com. There's a Donate Now button on there. You click on that Donate Now button, and it'll have all our links. We appreciate all your support, everything you do. We appreciate everybody that has a membership. Thank you. I love this.
Reported more than 80% of all apprehensions along the northern border At the border, President Trump continues to deliver on his promise to make America safe again. The Wall Street Journal captured the Trump effect in a recent article. Border crossings grind to a halt as Trump's tough policies take hold. U.S. Customs and Border Protection recorded its lowest southwest border crossings in history in March, and we're seeing the same successes at our northern border. Here's how the New York Post put it. Northern border sector previously overrun by illegal migrants sees dramatic drop in crossings. We haven't seen anyone since November, end quote. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, just 54 illegal aliens were apprehended in the Swanton sector of our northern border, which stretches more than 300 miles in March. This is a drastic 95% drop from the more than 1,000 border crossings that were caught in March 2024. This is a main hotspot area that recorded more than 80% of all apprehensions along the northern border during the 2024 fiscal year. And new reporting from the Washington Times fully highlights the difference in Joe Biden's disgraceful approach to the border compared to President Trump's. Under Trump, border catch and release has dropped 99.99% from worst Biden month. You can't get much better than that. This statistic in particular is astounding. Border Patrol agents caught and immediately released 189,604 illegal aliens into the United States in December 2023 at the height of the Biden border crisis. But under President Trump, Border Patrol agents caught and released only 20 illegal aliens into the U.S. in the month of February. Thanks to President Trump, operational control of the border is becoming a reality, and the administration's historic enforcement measures are yielding huge results. Illegal aliens are finally getting the blunt message. If you cross the border illegally, you will be swiftly deported and never return to the United States of America. Efforts to arrest the criminal illegal alien invaders are continuing to ramp up. ICE Chicago arrested a Mexican national convicted of predatory sexual assault of a child in Cook County, Illinois. This week, ICE Denver arrested a Mexican national convicted of sexual assault of a child in Houston County, Texas. ICE Miami arrested a Nicaraguan convicted of aggravated battery in Hillsborough County, Florida. ICE Houston arrested a Salvadorian national convicted of attempted sexual assault of a child in Escape in Dallas County, Texas. And ICE Chicago arrested a Mexican national convicted of aggravated sexual abuse of a minor in Illinois. Despite the Democrats' insane objections, President Trump will continue to embolden law enforcement officers to arrest dangerous legal alien criminals and keep our communities safe.
Promises made, promises kept, as long as we can get past these activist judges. And it's going to take us, the American citizen, to make some noise to make all this happen. We gotta. I just thought this was interesting. Again, it's towards the end of the show. Just wanted to pull this up really quick. It said this was breaking. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has referred intel officials to the DOJ for prosecution for leaking classified information. We know we've had leakers in many. We had some of the holdovers. We have some bad actors in our government, part of the deep state. But Gabbard has referred the intel officials to the DOJ for prosecution. So we're going to follow up on more of that as those things come up. And I think that was it for the show today. I don't know if I'll do it again. This is got home this morning, so that's why we only were doing one show today. Again, thank you for anybody that supports us, keeps us on the road, keeps us doing. I got to go return the rental car, and then I'm going to cook some dinner for the family. So I might do a Rumble premium live stream later. I have to get those done. I have to get 5 hours worth in order to maintain our status. Maybe look for one live later tonight. I don't know. Again, I got a lot of stuff to do around here. We've been traveling a lot, but once again, I want to say thank you to all you guys that help us out and everything you guys do. We can't do it without you. It looks like we did get Krista was let me check one more thing. Krista was one that donated today. And again, John G donated earlier today. Let me check one more thing out because it does not give me notifications on Zelle for some reason. So yeah. So again, guys, you guys want to help out? The links are on the bottom. Head to our website, theoreoexpress.com. We got some exciting stuff coming up over the next couple weeks. We're going to be everywhere. And that's all thanks to you guys. Have a wonderful evening. And again, we might see you a little later. So have fun. Thank you to the mods and everybody that's helping out and all you guys that support us. God bless.